Hi guys, so this is a continuation of the Dominican breakfast, and in this video we're going to do the scrambled egg and fried cheese. The star of the show is this extra firm tofu, but you can use firm tofu. The first thing you want to do is drain out all the water, then rinse your tofu. Next, you're going to pat your tofu dry. You don't need to press the tofu down with your wooden cutting board or freeze it to get out all the excess water. We're gonna need to add moisture back to the tofu, but at this point, you're just going to pat it dry. Now we're going to cut our tofu in half because one half of the tofu, we're gonna use it for the tofu scramble. And this half, we're going to slice it so that we can make our fried cheese. You want to slice it in 1/2 inch thickness or whatever thickness you think best for yourself. I was able to make 4 pieces, but if you slice them thinner, you can probably make 5 to 6 pieces. Now we're going to make our tofu scramble, and as you can see in the video, this is how you make it look like scrambled eggs. So you just break the portion of the tofu that you cut to the side into small portions, and now it's looking like scrambled eggs. Now we're ready to cook the tofu. You're going to choose whichever oil you desire. I used avocado oil. You're going to place it into your pan and you're going to wait for the oil to get hot. While the pan is getting hot, we're ready to season with garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, adobo, nutritional yeast, and sazon. The reason I'm using sazon is because I didn't have any turmeric. But you want to put any type of oil on top of the tofu so that the seasoning can stick. Then you're going to sprinkle a little bit of everything on top of your tofu. I have to purchase these small wooden spoons for when I'm using these containers because sometimes the seasoning will come out more than you want it to. So you want to take your time and just make sure that your tofu is well seasoned on all sides. Once you add all your seasoning, you're going to pat it down to make sure the seasoning sticks, and then you're going to flip it over. Next, you're going to rinse and repeat. You're going to add the oil, then you're going to add the seasoning. When adding the salt, just make sure you sprinkle it on top because remember you already added salt on the other side. Once you finish seasoning your tofu, you're going to add it to your already oiled and hot pan. You're going to cook it for 2 to 3 minutes on each side, then remove it out of the pan. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you check out my how to make mangu video. I'm going to link it up above. The pot to the left, that's what's boiling, is the plátanos. And here you have it, guys, your fried cheese to add to your Dominican breakfast. Now let's move on to the scrambled tofu. So you want to make sure that you clean the pan before you add the scrambled tofu. And we're going to season it with the same seasonings that we use for the fried cheese. I'm using about a tablespoon of each seasoning, and I'm only going to add perhaps a 1/2 teaspoon of the adobo seasoning. Then I add the remainder of the sazon seasoning. Then I add a little bit more oil. I added extra virgin olive oil, but you can use avocado oil, whichever one you desire. Then I add about 1/4 cups of the nutritional yeast. Now I'm going to add a spice that we didn't add to the fried cheese, which is peppercorns. You're going to want to grate about 6 times. That's probably about 1.5 teaspoons. Then mix. You're going to want to mix it towards the middle because the next step is adding the water. And the water gives it more moisture, and it also brings the flavors and all the seasonings into the tofu. You want to keep mixing until the water has been completely absorbed by the tofu because we're going to add some more seasoning, but in the form of fresh peppers and onions. So these peppers I chopped them up weekly or bi-weekly. This red peppers, green peppers, yellow peppers, and red onion. And I put them in the Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer. And here, this is going to give it a nice flavor of kind of like a scrambled omelet. And you just stir it for maybe another minute and your tofu scramble will be done. Now you're going to put it into a glass container until you're ready to serve. Now let's move on to the last part of the Dominican breakfast, the cebollas and sausage.